Well, there we have it, guys. Scotland versus Argentina. A bit of a mad game, not gonna lie. 52 points to 29. A mega scoring game, a mega amount of cards, a mega amount of tries. There's an awful lot to go over in this game. As we do in these review videos, of course, we'll be going over what happened in the first half, some scores, some highlights, some stats, and some thoughts on the game. And then afterwards, move on to that bonkers second half, because there's going to be an awful lot to talk about. If you enjoyed this sort of video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and make sure to drop your thoughts down in the comment section on your thoughts on the game. Alrighty then, so into the first half. Argentina got us underway on the scoreboard within the first minute. Straight from kickoff, Scotland not really getting that recovery very good. We saw Argentina plough straight over the top. We had a penalty for Scotland not releasing on the floor. So Boffelli taking us 3-0 to Argentina within the first minute of the game. It's not really the start Scotland would have wanted. Scotland had the opportunity to close the scoreboard up towards that 10-minute mark. It did get a penalty for Argentina not rolling away. Scotland had had quite a lot of pressure in that first 10 minutes going through the phases of attack. They decided to turn down the three. They went for kicking to corner. It was a big call. I feel like a game like Argentina, you probably wanted to pace yourself a little bit. They went for that driving maul. Didn't work. Scotland tried to spread it out wide, but the Argentinian defence did hold up. But it was only a couple minutes later we did get the first try of the game. Tui Pelotu, not a man we get to talk about scoring a lot of tries, but a superb little run. Scotland had just been on the attack over and over and over again. Eventually Finn Russell manages to take the line, has a really nice offload. We see Tui Pelotu just hitting a gap. Still has a lot of work to do, had a good 40 metres to make up. Got around 3 players, had to ride the tackles of about another 3 over the try line. Still managing to get the ball down, so nice play from him. Russell did get that conversion, so 7-3 to Scotland around that 10-minute marker. Argentina bounced back, though, almost immediately on their first phase of carries, straight back from that kickoff. We saw Argentina get back on the aggression, trying to move back upwards. They did use a couple of kicks to try and pin back Scotland. One thing Scotland used in this game a lot, blitz defence. Very quick off the line. It's working an awful lot in this first half, but Argentina, through the boots of people you're not expecting, people like Pablo Matera, actually finding these gaps in the back. They win themselves a scrum. They spread the ball wide off the back of the scrum. It looked like Finn Russell managed to get an interception, but he drops the ball. They spread it out wide to De La Fuente, who scores in the corner for Argentina. Did miss the conversion from Boffelli. I think it might be the first time I've spoken about Boffelli missing a kick in a long, long time. So a bit of a shame for him, but Argentina took the lead again at 8-7. So we had a very exciting opening 20 minutes. Both teams really making the most of this game. It was nice to see quite a close-knit match. This was one of the games I was looking forward to the most over this weekend. I think both teams are doing very well on the attack, but it was probably the defensive side of Argentina was looking slightly more impressive, probably because Scotland were actually on the attack a little bit more. Scotland even had one phase where they had 20 phases of attack going through the forwards, trying to get up to that try line, but eventually it was stolen by Argentina on a big turnover. So Scotland are trying to get over that try line more, but the Argentinian defence is holding up. Now, where this game begins to meet a bit of a shift up in the 23rd minute, Kramer getting a red card. This was a high shot in a clear out against Jamie Ritchie. Just a silly move. We see this a bit too often in World Rugby. In the clean out, just diving in, swinging arm from distance, straight to the head. It doesn't give referees any wiggle room. I'm a bit annoyed that we see so many of these red cards because I feel it's quite easy to do, but it's also avoidable. So, you know, red card came for Kramer. Was very worried this was going to potentially ruin the match as Scotland now just begin to cascade a few scores now. Duhan van der Merwe getting his try, been playing well throughout this first half. Scotland carried all the way up to the 22. Finn Russell again, been doing really well in this game. Nice little dummy pass from him. Gets the offload, the ball bobbling around in Duhan van der Merwe's hands, but he does manage to get it down over the try line, successfully converted by Russell. From that red card, we just see that defence has opened up now. Scotland making huge meters with basically every single carry. The balls look like Chris Harris could actually have got that try. He went himself, didn't back anyone else. He had 2 men out on his wing. Did get stopped by Argentina, but nice quick recovery for Darcy Graham to go in the corner as well. So back-to-back tries for Scotland. Sees them extend that lead out now to 19 points to 8, and I was a little bit worried this is where the game was going to end up heading. Is that red card going to be, you know, a bit of a deciding factor in this game? But Argentina managing to make the most of the final 10 minutes of this game. They won a penalty for a jackal on Darcy to Graham straight from the kickoff from that try. It's probably the first sort of counter-attack that had gone wrong for Scotland up to this point. They just managed to get over the top of him, steal that jackal. They kicked to the corner rather than 3. Big call, red card, man down, hard to make meters. I thought they'd be taking 3s as often as they could. Scotland did defend very well, very fast off the line, but they did give away another penalty. They went for the corner again rather than the 3. Again, there's 6 points here that you've let go. Got to make the most of it. But Scotland did concede another penalty from that phase of play. This time, Argentina decided we're not going to go for the corner. We're going to go for the tap and go. Always fun to see. Pablo Matera takes it up to the line, gets stopped right on the line. We go through 4 phases of the pick and go, but eventually Alemano manages to get over for his try. So Boffelli converting that one as well, draws that scoreboard level at halftime to 19 points to 15. So Argentina still fighting it out at this point, desperate to try and claw that scoreboard back. Scotland definitely look like they have the room now to run around. It's one of those things where at the minute you can hold on. Does that game begin to open up, though? As these players get a bit more tired, a bit more fatigued, you've got that extra defensive room to hold on to. Scotland attack is going to be working pretty well. In terms of some stats, then, some fun stats. Both teams doing really well in the set play area. 100% lineouts won for both teams. 100% scrums won for both teams. Even with a man down, we had to see Orlando chucking himself in the scrum to try and help out that Argentinian scrum. Still not losing anything in that first half. Possession going the way of Scotland, 55% to Scotland there. But penalties conceded, surprisingly, 6 to Scotland, 4 to Argentina. So even with a red card, discipline for Argentina, managing to hold on. We did see a couple of on-the-bounce penalties from Scotland, which we spoke about in previous weeks. They just want to avoid that going into the second half. On to the second half then, where this game really took, just all sorts of different turns. So we started out in the second minute of the second half. Darcy Graham getting his second try of the afternoon. Scotland on the attack. Finn Russell again, but just been so good all game. Gets that little dummy pass, makes that show around the outside, offloads it out to Hogg, and it's an easy enough walkover for Graham to go over. Now, 40 to 50 minutes, Scotland are really beginning to dominate the scrum. There's just penalties from basically every scrum that comes on now. That red card's really beginning to affect Argentina. They are getting the penalties from it. Every time they go for the line-out, Argentina steal 100% of the line-outs across that 10 minutes. So they're not really making a big advantage. They're gaining the meters, but losing the line-outs. In the 50th minute then, we had some big impacts in the game. In the 49th minute, yellow card coming in from Alemano. This one for a sort of a similar offence to Kramer in that first half. Just hitting head contact in the ruck area. Absolutely no need. It was Richie Gray, I think, was on the ground, not contesting the ball or anything. Alemano comes in, just smashes him in the face with his shoulder. Not necessarily less danger because he didn't really come from as much distance. Referee awarded that as a yellow card. Scotland move on to have the penalty from that yellow card. They go for a big driving maul and it's brought down illegally by Lavanini on the try line. Surprisingly not given as a penalty try, as it really felt like that maul was going forwards, but a yellow card also came in for Lavanini. So Argentina down to 12 men. It's not very often you get to see this in a game of rugby. Scotland go on the offensive. They go for the scrum, but somehow Argentina do manage to defend and actually successfully manage to stop any score going over, even with 12 men. Now, against the big run of play here, Argentina are actually the team that get the next score on the board, completely against the run of play. The defense from Argentina is just flying off the line. You've got nothing to lose anymore. Just go for it. Forcing Scotland just to try and make these big decisions. Scotland not really going through the phases. They're not really taking their time. Taking big opportunities, offloads, wild out the back passes, trying to make stuff happen, rather than just going through the phases and allowing that man overlap to make the advantage. Eventually the ball is dropped. Orlando picks it up, runs 40 metres, doesn't have the pace to outrun Hogg. Nice little pass out the back, gets it over to Boffelli to run it under the post and converts his own try. So somehow, in the 50th minute, Argentina draw that scoreline back to 24-22, even with 12 men on the field. Scotland managed to sort themselves out a little bit, slow down the game, went through the phases. We saw Finn Russell taking charges a bit, trying to just slow them down, get them to go through the phase a bit, and eventually that gap did begin to open up. Tui Plotter got in for his try only 3 minutes later, just going through the phases, not enough coverage on the wing with 12 men. Tui Plotter goes over to extend Scotland's lead. As we get towards the 60-minute marker then, Argentina get both of their yellow-carded players back on the field, but we hadn't had enough of the yellow cards yet, so we started a big scrap, as we need to do in this sort of game of rugby. Big fight sort of breaking out, a lot of pushing, shoving, and we get 2 more yellow cards. One going to Gaggio, the number 1 in the Argentinian side, and number 7, Jamie Ritchie on Scotland's side, both getting their yellow cards. Now, interesting facts here that Scotland have gained a net advantage of nothing across the 12 men disadvantage that Argentina had. And that probably won't be a very good stat for Greg Townsend to look at. There's a couple of things. I think the final scoreline's a little bit taking away from how this game sort of actually went from maybe a Scotland perspective. I'm looking forward to hear what you guys say. Now, across the rest of the game now, after those 2 yellow cards, it just begins to open up. Scotland have just taken advantage now. Fatigue hitting the Argentinian side. So we get tries coming along from Redpath, Hogg, Graham, and Tui Pilotu. I don't really want to sort of run over their tries. Graham getting his hat-trick today. Redpath getting a try after we haven't seen him a great deal. But Hogg as well getting in there. So I don't want to run over them too much, but they all basically are coming off the back of Argentina are getting tired and the gaps open up. And the Scottish backline attack is actually working incredibly well. We saw them get over for a number of tries. The Argentinian defence held up very well. There was a big section between the sort of 60 and 70th minute marker where Scotland had scrums on Argentina's 5-metre line, and they had 2 attempts at it. They got over the try line twice, and both times Argentina came away with conceding 0 points and being to hold up. So I think there's a lot of praise to go on there in terms of Argentinian defence about how well they held up. But that Scottish backline just towards the end of the game really began to open up. Scoreline doesn't end there because there was yet another yellow card to come into this game, going to Tui Pilotu on a dumb tackle going against Juan Cruz Malia, which I sort of agree with. I think he picks him up, goes beyond the 90, drove him into the ground. I think a yellow card's probably the right call from there. So that was the final yellow card, but that did lead to the final try of the game, coming in for Ruiz in the 87th minute. Feels like a long time since I've seen a game get out that far, and was converted by Sanchez to take us to that final score of 52-29. Now, there's a lot of highlights to go over there, but some of the big takeaways from this game, I'm really looking forward to hear what you guys have to say about this. Now, the scoreline, of course, looks like Scotland blowout. Absolutely destroy them. Look at that big point score. But I still think there's a few errors that Scotland want to look at here. Not taking advantage of the, 3-man overlap you've got is not a great thing from them. A couple of defensive errors from them. They held up on their own line, but eventually that try did come in from Ruiz at the end. We had the breakaway try that Boffelli scored. Scotland still not necessarily getting everything correct in this game. The line-out situation went wrong for them. The set piece we said in that first half, 100% across the board. But into that second half, the line-outs are going a bit wrong for them. Scrums are a bit of a different angle. It's a bit different trying to face a 7 or 6-man scrum at times, so hard to gauge where they were out there. I think Scotland will be happy with the overall score. I think Gregor Townsend will have some stuff to look at in terms of the general performance of the game. But overall, congratulations to the Scotland fans. A really exciting game. I thought Wales versus Georgia might actually sort of outride some of the exciting games that are going on. Some final stats then. Scotland dominating in terms of running meters, double carries, double the amount of meters made in this game. Tackles made for Argentina, made over 100 tackles, but 32 missed tackles. Now, if you go back a couple of years ago, there was a game that they had against New Zealand where I think they missed 0 tackles in a game. That's a long way away from that. It just goes to show how much they were having to defend, but how much that Scotland backline was beginning to open up. But I'm always looking forward to hear your comments on this video, guys. Make sure you do go down to the comment section. Tell me what you thought about the game. If you enjoyed this one today, guys, remember to leave it a like and subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with all the latest videos as they come out. I hope you all enjoyed this one today, guys. I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.